Hello and welcome to the Mindful Zone. I'm so glad you're here today. Whether you stumbled upon this video by chance or sought it out intentionally, know that your presence here is meaningful. Today we're embarking on a journey together, a journey into inner peace, guided by timeless Buddhist teachings, meditation, and mindfulness practices. Life can feel overwhelming at times, can't it? The constant buzz of notifications, the endless to-do lists, the worries about tomorrow. Sometimes it feels like there's no escape. But what if I told you that peace isn't somewhere far away? What if it's already within you, just waiting to be uncovered? That's exactly what we'll explore today. This video is designed for everyone, whether you're completely new to these ideas or someone who has been practicing mindfulness for years. Our goal is simple: to help you relax, stop worrying, and reconnect with the calm center inside you. Over the next 2 hours, we'll dive into 10 profound Buddhist teachings, each one offering practical wisdom you can apply to your daily life. But before we begin, let me remind you of something important. There's no right or wrong way to engage with this content. You don't need to take notes, memorize anything, or get it perfect. This is your time to slow down, breathe deeply, and simply listen. If your mind starts to wander, and it probably will, that's okay. Gently bring your attention back to the words, the visuals, and the sounds around you. Throughout this video, we'll use pauses, breathing exercises, and moments of silence to help you integrate these teachings more deeply. Think of this as a guided experience rather than a lecture. My hope is that by the end of our time together, you'll feel lighter, calmer, and more connected to yourself. Now let's set an intention for this practice. Take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and now exhale slowly. Let that breath carry away any tension or stress you've been carrying. One more time, in and out. Beautiful. As we move forward, remember this: every step you take toward greater awareness and compassion for yourself and others is a step worth celebrating. So thank you for showing up for yourself today. Thank you for choosing to spend this time nurturing your mind, body, and spirit. Are you ready? Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Nature of Suffering, Dukkha. The first teaching we'll explore is one of the most fundamental concepts in Buddhism, the nature of suffering, known as Dukkha. This concept lies at the very heart of Buddhist philosophy, and understanding it can profoundly transform how we navigate life's challenges. While the term Dukkha is often translated as suffering, its meaning extends far beyond physical pain or extreme hardship. It encompasses the subtle dissatisfaction, unease, and discomfort that permeate much of our existence, even when things seem to be going well on the surface. To truly grasp Dukkha, we must first recognize that it's an inherent part of human life. No matter who you are, where you come from, or what your circumstances may be, you've likely experienced moments of dissatisfaction or longing. Perhaps it's the feeling that something is missing even when everything appears to be in place. Or maybe it's the sense that happiness is fleeting, slipping through your fingers just as you begin to hold on to it. These experiences are universal, and they point to the pervasive presence of Dukkha. But why does Dukkha exist? At its core, suffering arises because we cling to things that are impermanent. We attach ourselves to people, possessions, roles, and identities, believing they will bring us lasting happiness or security. Yet because nothing in life remains unchanged, this clinging inevitably leads to disappointment. When change occurs, and it always does, we resist it, creating even more suffering for ourselves. This resistance manifests in many forms: frustration, anger, sadness, or a deep sense of loss. Let's delve deeper into how attachment operates in our lives. Consider something as simple as a favorite mug. Maybe it's the one you use every morning for your coffee or tea. You've grown fond of it over time. It's comfortable, familiar, and brings you joy. One day you accidentally drop it and it shatters into pieces. How do you feel? disappointed, frustrated, perhaps even angry. These emotions arise not because the mug broke, but because you were attached to it. You saw it as a source of comfort and stability. And now that it's gone, you feel unsettled. This example might seem small, but it illustrates how attachment functions in all areas of our lives. We cling to relationships, expecting them to remain unchanged forever. We chase after promotions, thinking they'll make us happy indefinitely. Even our self-image, the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, can become a source of suffering when reality doesn't align with those narratives. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Think about the things you hold on to tightly. Is it a relationship that you fear losing, a job that defines your sense of purpose, a belief about yourself that feels unshakable? Whatever it is, notice how it feels in your body to imagine letting go, even just a little. Does it bring relief, fear, curiosity? Whatever arises, simply observe it without judgment. The Buddha taught that attachment is like grasping a handful of sand. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. Similarly, the harder we cling to things, the more we suffer. But this doesn't mean we should reject everything or detach emotionally from the world around us. Instead, the path to peace lies in cultivating awareness of our attachments and learning to hold them lightly. By doing so, we can enjoy the beauty of life without being consumed by the fear of losing it. Understanding dukkha also invites us to examine the role of expectations in our lives. So much of our suffering stems from the gap between how we want things to be and how they actually are. When reality fails to meet our expectations, we feel disappointed or resentful. For instance, imagine planning a weekend getaway only to have it rain the entire time. If you're attached to the idea of sunshine and outdoor activities, you might spend the whole trip feeling frustrated and let down. But if you approach the situation with flexibility and openness, you might discover new joys, reading by the window, sipping hot chocolate, or having heartfelt conversations with loved ones. The key here is to shift our perspective. Instead of seeing impermanence and change as threats, we can view them as opportunities for growth and transformation. Life is constantly unfolding, presenting us with new experiences and possibilities. When we resist this flow, we create unnecessary suffering for ourselves, but when we embrace it, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of freedom and peace. Another important aspect of dukkha is recognizing that suffering is not personal. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, why is this happening to me? But the truth is, dukkha is a shared human experience. Everyone faces challenges, losses, and disappointments at some point in their lives. Knowing this can help us feel less isolated in our struggles and more connected to others. Compassion naturally arises when we realize that everyone is navigating their own version of dukkha. So, how do we work with dukkha in practical terms? The first step is awareness. Simply noticing when you're experiencing dissatisfaction or unease can be incredibly powerful. Ask yourself, what am I clinging to right now? What am I resisting? Once you identify these patterns, you can begin to soften around them. Instead of pushing away discomfort or trying to control outcomes, allow yourself to sit with whatever arises. Breathe into it, acknowledge it, and remind yourself that it's okay to feel this way. Over time, this practice of mindful awareness can help you develop greater resilience and equanimity. You'll start to see that while suffering is inevitable, it doesn't have to define your life. By meeting dukkha with kindness and understanding, you can transform it into a source of wisdom and strength. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to carry this insight with you throughout your day. Whenever you notice feelings of dissatisfaction or unease, gently remind yourself, this is dukkha, it's okay, I can meet it with kindness. Over time, this simple act of recognition can transform the way you relate to challenges, big and small. Thank you for exploring this teaching with me. Let's continue our journey together as we move into the next chapter, Impermanence, or Anicca, Chapter 2, Impermanence, Anicca. The second teaching we'll explore is one of the most profound and transformative concepts in Buddhism, impermanence or Anicca. This principle reminds us that nothing in life is fixed or permanent. Everything, our thoughts, emotions, relationships, possessions, even our very breath, is constantly changing. While this truth may seem obvious on the surface, truly understanding and embracing impermanence can revolutionize how we live our lives. To begin, let's consider why impermanence is such a central teaching in Buddhism. The Buddha taught that recognizing the transient nature of all things is essential for finding peace and liberation from suffering. When we cling to the illusion of permanence, believing that happiness, success, or love will last forever, we set ourselves up for disappointment. But when we accept that everything is fleeting, we learn to appreciate life more deeply and let go of the need to control it. Impermanence is not just an abstract philosophical idea, it's something we experience every single day. Think about the weather, for example. One moment the sun is shining brightly, and the next, clouds roll in and rain begins to fall. Or consider your own body. From the time you were born, your cells have been continuously renewing themselves. Even your thoughts and emotions are in constant flux. What feels overwhelming today may seem trivial tomorrow. Yet despite the undeniable evidence of change all around us, many of us struggle to fully embrace impermanence. Why is that? Part of the reason lies in our natural tendency to seek stability and security. Change can be unsettling, especially when it brings loss or uncertainty. We want to hold on to what we love, whether it's a cherished memory, a meaningful relationship, or a sense of identity. But clinging to these things only amplifies our suffering when they inevitably change or disappear. Let's take a closer look at how impermanence plays out in different areas of life. Consider relationships, for instance. Whether it's a romantic partnership, a friendship, or family bond, no relationship remains exactly the same over time. People grow, evolve, and sometimes drift apart. If we expect our connections with others to stay static, we're bound to feel frustrated or heartbroken when they don't. On the other hand, if we approach relationships with an awareness of their ever-changing nature, we can cherish them more fully while they last and gracefully navigate transitions when they occur. The same principle applies to material possessions. How often do we attach our sense of worth or happiness to external objects? A car, a house, a piece of jewelry. Yet these things are subject to wear and tear, theft, or obsolescence. Even something as seemingly solid as a mountain erodes over millennia. By recognizing that nothing lasts forever, we can enjoy what we have without becoming overly attached to it. Emotions, too, are governed by impermanence. Have you ever noticed how quickly your mood can shift? One moment you might feel joyful, and the next, a wave of sadness washes over you. These fluctuations are entirely natural, yet we often resist them, trying to cling to positive emotions or avoid negative ones. But resisting the flow of emotions only intensifies our suffering. Instead, by acknowledging that feelings come and go like clouds passing through the sky, we can develop greater emotional resilience and equanimity. Another important dimension of impermanence is its role in fostering gratitude and presence. When we understand that every moment is unique and irreplaceable, we naturally become more mindful of the here and now. Imagine savoring a cup of tea, not just drinking it absent-mindedly, but truly experiencing its aroma, taste, and warmth. Knowing that this exact moment will never happen again allows us to appreciate it more deeply. This awareness also helps us cope with difficult experiences. Painful emotions, challenging situations, and periods of uncertainty are all temporary. They may feel overwhelming in the moment, but reminding ourselves that this too shall pass can provide immense comfort. In fact, some Buddhist practitioners use the phrase Anicca as a mantra during meditation to ground themselves in the reality of impermanence. Repeating this word silently can help calm the mind and soften resistance to whatever arises. Of course, accepting impermanence doesn't mean resigning ourselves to apathy or detachment. Far from it. Recognizing that life is fleeting inspires us to live more fully and authentically. It encourages us to prioritize what truly matters, to spend time with loved ones, pursue passions, and contribute to the well-being of others. When we know that our days are numbered, we're less likely to waste them on trivial pursuits or petty grievances. One powerful way to deepen your understanding of impermanence is to observe nature. Take a walk outside and notice the cycles of growth and decay around you. Leaves fall from trees in autumn, flowers bloom in spring, rivers carve new paths through the earth. These processes remind us that change is not only inevitable, but also beautiful. Without impermanence, there would be no seasons, no renewal, no possibility for transformation. In fact, impermanence is the foundation of hope. If nothing were ever able to change, we'd be stuck in endless cycles of suffering. But because everything is impermanent, healing and growth are always possible. A broken relationship can mend. A lost job can lead to unexpected opportunities. Even grief, no matter how deep, eventually softens with time. It's also worth noting that impermanence applies to our inner world as much as our outer circumstances. Our thoughts, beliefs, and self-concept are not fixed entities. They evolve and adapt throughout our lives. This fluidity offers tremendous freedom. If you've ever felt trapped by limiting beliefs or rigid identities, remember that they too are subject to change. You have the power to rewrite your story, to cultivate new habits, and to redefine who you are. As we integrate the teaching of impermanence into our daily lives, we begin to see challenges in a new light. Rather than fearing change, we start to welcome it as an opportunity for growth. Instead of clinging to the past or worrying about the future, we focus on the present moment, where life is actually happening. This shift in perspective brings a profound sense of peace and liberation. To practice working with impermanence, try bringing your attention to the small changes occurring around you. Notice how the light shifts throughout the day, how plants grow taller over weeks, or how your own energy ebbs and flows. Each observation reinforces the truth of Anicca and helps you align with the natural rhythm of life. Finally, remember that impermanence is not something to fear, it's a gift. It reminds us to cherish the people and experiences we love, to let go of what no longer serves us, and to embrace the beauty of each passing moment. By embracing impermanence, we open ourselves to a life of greater joy, compassion, and wisdom. Thank you for exploring this teaching with me. Let's continue our journey together as we move into the next chapter, Non-Self or Anatta. Chapter 3, Non-Self, Anatta. The third teaching we'll explore is one of the most profound and challenging concepts in Buddhism, non-self or anatta. This principle invites us to question one of the most deeply ingrained beliefs we hold about ourselves, that there is a fixed, unchanging I at the center of our experience. While this idea may feel counterintuitive at first, understanding anatta can lead to a radical shift in how we relate to ourselves, others, and the world around us. To begin, let's unpack what anatta means. In simple terms, it suggests that there is no permanent, independent self that exists apart from the ever-changing flow of life. The Buddha taught that what we call the self is actually a collection of constantly shifting components: our physical body, sensation, thoughts, emotions, and perceptions. These elements arise and pass away depending on various causes and conditions. Much like waves on the surface of the ocean, there is no solid, enduring essence beneath them that we can point to and say, "This is me." At first glance, this teaching might seem unsettling. After all, much of our identity is built around the idea of being a distinct, separate individual. We define ourselves by our roles: parent, partner, employee, friend, as well as by our personality traits, preferences, and achievements. But when we examine these aspects more closely, we see that they are not static or permanent. They depend on external factors and change over time. For example, your job title today might be different tomorrow. Your interests as a child likely evolved as you grew older. Even your body, which many people consider the most tangible aspect of their identity, is undergoing continuous transformation at a cellular level. So, if there is no fixed self, What does that mean for who we are? Rather than negating our existence altogether, Anatta encourages us to see ourselves as part of a larger interconnected web. Just as a wave is made of water but cannot exist independently of the ocean, so too are we expressions of the greater whole. Our thoughts, feelings, and actions ripple outward, influencing and being influenced by everything around us. This perspective dissolves the illusion of separation and fosters a deep sense of connection with all beings. Understanding anatta also has profound implications for how we experience suffering. Much of our pain arises from clinging to the idea of a separate self. We worry about protecting our ego, defending our opinions, or striving to maintain a certain image. We compare ourselves to others, feeling inferior or superior based on arbitrary standards. All of these behaviors stem from identifying strongly with a constructed sense of self that doesn't truly exist. When we let go of this attachment, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. Let's explore how this works in practice. Imagine someone criticizing you at work or in a personal relationship. If you're firmly attached to the belief that your worth depends on others' approval, their words might trigger feelings of shame or inadequacy. However, if you recognize that your identity isn't tied to any single label or judgment, you can respond with greater equanimity. You might still feel hurt, but you won't take the criticism as a reflection of your entire being. Instead, you'll see it as just another passing phenomenon, like a cloud drifting across the sky. Another way to approach anatta is through mindfulness meditation. During meditation, you observe the contents of your mind without identifying with them. Thoughts come and go, emotions rise and fall, bodily sensations ebb and flow, but none of these define who you are. By cultivating this detached awareness, you begin to experience yourself not as a fixed entity, but as an open, spacious presence that contains and witnesses all experiences. This realization can bring immense freedom and peace. It's important to note that embracing anatta doesn't mean denying your humanity or rejecting healthy boundaries. You don't have to abandon your responsibilities, relationships, or aspirations. What changes is your relationship to them. Instead of seeing yourself as the sole author of your life story, you start to view yourself as a participant in a vast, unfolding process. This shift allows you to engage with life more fully while remaining grounded in the knowledge that nothing, including yourself, is permanent or isolated. One powerful analogy often used to explain anatta is that of a river. A river is always flowing, its waters continually changing as they move downstream. Yet we still refer to it as the river, even though none of the same water molecules remain after a few moments. Similarly, while we use names and labels to describe ourselves, these designations are merely convenient ways of navigating the world. They don't capture the dynamic, interdependent nature of reality. The teaching of anatta also challenges us to reconsider how we relate to others. When we see beyond the boundaries of a separate self, we naturally develop greater compassion and empathy. Recognizing that everyone else is also made up of impermanent, interdependent processes helps us let go of judgments and conflicts. We realize that the struggles and joys of others are not fundamentally different from our own. They are simply variations of the same universal experience. Practicing anatta in daily life involves letting go of rigid identifications and embracing fluidity. For instance, if you find yourself clinging to a particular role or identity, perhaps as a perfectionist, caregiver, or achiever, you can gently remind yourself that these labels are temporary constructs. Ask yourself, who would I be without this story? What possibilities open up when I release the need to define myself so narrowly? Another practical application of anatta is learning to observe your thoughts without taking them personally. So often we believe every thought that arises in our minds, mistaking it for an absolute truth about who we are. But thoughts are just mental events. They come and go like clouds. By stepping back and watching them without attachment, you create space between yourself and your inner dialogue. This distance gives you the clarity to choose which thoughts to act on and which to let pass. Embracing anatta also invites us to cultivate humility and gratitude. When we stop identifying so strongly with our accomplishments or talents, we become more appreciative of the countless causes and conditions that contribute to our success. Everything we do relies on the support of others, the farmers who grow our food, the teachers who educate us, the communities that sustain us. Seeing ourselves as part of this intricate web fosters a deep sense of interconnectedness and responsibility. Finally, anatta offers a path to liberation. By releasing the burden of maintaining a fixed identity, we lighten our load significantly. We no longer need to prove ourselves, defend our egos, or chase after validation. Instead, we can rest in the simplicity of being, a state of pure awareness that transcends the limitations of selfhood. This is where true freedom lies, not in becoming someone special, but in realizing that there was never anyone to become in the first place. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to carry the insight of anatta into your everyday life. Whenever you notice yourself identifying strongly with a thought, emotion, or role, gently remind yourself, this is not me, this is just a passing experience. Over time, this practice will help you loosen the grip of ego and open your heart to the boundless nature of existence. Thank you for exploring this teaching with me. Let's continue our journey together as we move into the next chapter, the power of mindfulness, or sati. Chapter 4, the power of mindfulness, sati. The fourth teaching we'll explore is one of the most practical and transformative tools in Buddhism, mindfulness, or sati. This practice lies at the heart of Buddhist meditation and offers a powerful way to cultivate an awareness, presence, and clarity in our daily lives. While mindfulness has gained widespread popularity in recent years, its roots run deep, offering timeless wisdom that can help us navigate the complexities of modern life. At its core, mindfulness is about paying attention on purpose in the present moment and without judgment. It's the simple yet profound act of noticing what's happening right now, both within us and around us. Whether it's the sensation of your breath moving in and out, the taste of food on your tongue, or the emotions arising in response to a challenging situation, mindfulness invites us to fully experience each moment as it unfolds. But why is mindfulness so important? In a world filled with distractions, notifications buzzing, schedules packed, minds racing, it's easy to lose touch with the present. We spend so much time dwelling on the past or worrying about the future that we miss the richness of life happening right here, right now. Mindfulness helps us come back to ourselves, grounding us in the only moment that truly exists, this one. The Buddha often described mindfulness as the foundation of all spiritual practice. Without awareness, he taught, we remain caught in cycles of habitual thinking and reacting, perpetuating suffering unnecessarily. But when we bring mindful attention to our experiences, we create space to respond skillfully rather than react impulsively. This shift empowers us to break free from patterns of stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. Let's delve deeper into how mindfulness works in practice. One of the most common ways to cultivate mindfulness is through meditation. During meditation, you focus your attention on an anchor, such as the breath, bodily sensations, or sounds, and gently return to it whenever your mind wanders. This process trains the mind to stay present, strengthening your ability to concentrate and observe without attachment. Over time, this practice spills over into everyday life, helping you stay more grounded and aware, even amidst chaos. For example, imagine sitting quietly and focusing on your breath. At first, your mind might race with thoughts about work, relationships, or unresolved problems. That's perfectly normal. The key is not to suppress these thoughts, but to acknowledge them without judgment. You might silently note, thinking, and then gently guide your attention back to your breath. Each time you do this, you're reinforcing the muscle of mindfulness, building resilience against distraction. Mindfulness isn't limited to formal meditation, though. It can be practiced in virtually any activity: eating, walking, washing dishes, or even having a conversation. The essence of mindfulness is bringing full attention to whatever you're doing, letting go of multitasking and mental clutter. For instance, when you eat mindfully, you savor each bite, noticing the texture, flavor, and aroma of your food. When you walk mindfully, you feel the contact of your feet with the ground, the rhythm of your steps, and the movement of your body. These small acts of presence transform ordinary moments into opportunities for connection and joy. One of the most beautiful aspects of mindfulness is its ability to reveal the extraordinary within the ordinary. So often we overlook the wonders of everyday life because we're too busy rushing toward the next thing. But when we slow down and pay attention, we discover beauty in unexpected places. A bird singing outside your window, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the kindness in a stranger's smile. Mindfulness opens our eyes to the miracle of existence, reminding us that life is precious and fleeting. Another powerful benefit of mindfulness is its impact on emotional well-being. By observing our thoughts and feelings without identifying with them, we develop greater emotional intelligence. Instead of being swept away by anger, fear, or sadness, we learn to hold these emotions lightly, recognizing them as temporary states rather than fixed truths. This perspective allows us to respond to challenges with greater calm and compassion, both for ourselves and others. Consider how mindfulness might apply to a difficult emotion like anxiety. When you feel anxious, your mind often spirals into worst-case scenarios, creating a feedback loop of tension and worry. Through mindfulness, you can step back and observe the anxiety without getting entangled in it. You might notice where the sensation resides in your body, a tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, and simply breathe into that space. By acknowledging the anxiety without resisting it, you reduce its power over you, allowing it to pass more quickly. Mindfulness also enhances our relationships. When we're fully present with someone, listening deeply and responding thoughtfully, we communicate more authentically and build stronger connections. Too often, we engage in conversations while distracted by our phones, internal monologues, or preoccupations. Mindful communication involves setting aside those distractions and giving the other person your full attention. This simple act can transform interactions, fostering trust, empathy, and understanding. In addition to its personal benefits, mindfulness has profound implications for society as a whole. As more people embrace mindful living, we collectively move toward a culture of presence, compassion, and sustainability. Imagine workplaces where employees are encouraged to take mindful breaks, schools where children learn to regulate their emotions through mindfulness practices, and communities that prioritize slowing down and connecting deeply. These shifts have the potential to heal divisions, reduce stress, and promote harmony on a global scale. Practicing mindfulness doesn't require special equipment or extensive training. All it takes is a willingness to show up and pay attention. Start small, 1 minute of focused breathing, a single mindful meal, or a few conscious steps during a walk. Gradually, you can expand these practices, integrating mindfulness into more areas of your life. Remember, it's not about achieving some ideal state of perfect awareness. It's about making the effort to be present, moment by moment. Another helpful aspect of mindfulness is its role in cultivating gratitude. When we slow down and notice the details of our surroundings, we naturally become more appreciative of what we have. A mindful approach to life encourages us to celebrate the little things, the smell of fresh coffee, the laughter of a child, the quiet stillness of dawn. Gratitude, in turn, amplifies mindfulness, creating a positive feedback loop that enriches our experience of life. Of course, practicing mindfulness isn't always easy. Our minds are conditioned to wander, and old habits die hard. There will be days when staying present feels impossible, when distractions pull you in every direction. On those days, remind yourself that mindfulness is a journey, not a destination. Every time you bring your attention back to the present, no matter how briefly, you're strengthening your capacity for awareness. Finally, mindfulness teaches us to embrace uncertainty and impermanence. Life is inherently unpredictable, and trying to control it only leads to frustration. By staying present, we learn to flow with the changes, trusting that we can handle whatever arises. This openness to the unknown fosters courage, adaptability, and resilience, qualities that are essential for navigating life's ups and downs. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to make mindfulness a cornerstone of your daily routine, whether through meditation, mindful activities, or simply pausing to breathe throughout the day. Let this practice guide you back to the present moment. Over time, you'll find that mindfulness becomes less of an effort and more of a natural way of being, a gentle reminder that peace and clarity are always available if only we take the time to notice. Thank you for exploring this teaching with me. Let's continue our journey together as we move into the next chapter, Loving Kindness, or Metta. Chapter 5, Loving Kindness, Metta. The fifth teaching we'll explore is one of the most heartwarming and transformative practices in Buddhism, loving kindness, or metta. This practice invites us to cultivate unconditional love and compassion, not just for others, but also for ourselves. While the concept may sound simple, its effects are profound, offering a pathway to healing, connection, and inner peace. At its essence, metta is the wish for all beings to be happy, healthy, safe, and at ease. It's a deliberate cultivation of goodwill that transcends boundaries, judgments, and differences. Unlike conditional love, which often depends on specific actions or outcomes, metta is boundless and inclusive. It extends equally to friends, strangers, difficult people, and even ourselves. Why is loving kindness so important? In a world that can sometimes feel divided, competitive, and harsh, metta serves as an antidote to fear, anger, and isolation. When we practice loving kindness, we soften the walls we've built around our hearts, opening ourselves to deeper connections with others and a greater sense of belonging. Moreover, cultivating compassion for ourselves helps us break free from self-criticism and shame, fostering self-acceptance and resilience. The roots of metta lie in the Buddha's teachings on the importance of developing a kind and open heart. He taught that hatred cannot be overcome by more hatred. Only love has the power to dissolve it. By nurturing loving kindness, we create a ripple effect that touches everyone we encounter, spreading positivity and reducing suffering in both subtle and tangible ways. Let's delve into how metta works in practice. One of the most common ways to cultivate loving kindness is through meditation. During a metta meditation, you silently repeat phrases of goodwill, directing them first toward yourself, then toward loved ones, neutral individuals, challenging people, and finally, all beings everywhere. These phrases might include, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease." As you extend these wishes outward, you begin to dissolve barriers between yourself and others, recognizing the shared humanity that unites us all. For many people, starting with self-love is the hardest part of metta practice. We're often quick to criticize ourselves for perceived flaws or mistakes, believing that self-compassion will make us lazy or complacent. But the opposite is true. Research shows that self-compassion actually boosts motivation, emotional resilience, and overall well-being. When we treat ourselves with kindness, we create a foundation of strength and stability that allows us to show up more fully for others. Imagine sitting quietly and placing your hand over your heart. Feel its steady rhythm beneath your palm. Now silently say to yourself, "May I be happy, may I be peaceful, may I be free from suffering." Notice how it feels to offer yourself these words of care. Even if they don't resonate immediately, continue practicing. Over time, this act of self-love can heal old wounds and awaken a deep sense of worthiness within you. Once you've cultivated loving kindness for yourself, the next step is extending it to others. Begin with someone you care about deeply, a close friend, family member, or mentor. Picture their face in your mind and silently repeat same phrases. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you live with ease. Allow warmth and affection to fill your heart as you hold them in your thoughts. From there, expand your focus to include neutral individuals, people you interact with regularly but don't have strong feelings toward, such as a cashier, delivery person, or neighbor. Though they may seem insignificant in your day-to-day life, they too deserve happiness and peace. Offering them metta challenges the tendency to categorize people based on their utility or proximity to us. Next, direct loving kindness towards someone who has caused you difficulty or pain, a challenging co-worker, an estranged relative, or anyone else who stirs up negative emotions. This part of the practice can feel especially uncomfortable, but it's also where metta becomes most powerful. By wishing well for someone who has hurt you, you loosen the grip of resentment and reclaim your own peace of mind. You don't need to condone harmful behavior or reconcile with them. Simply acknowledge their humanity and wish them freedom from suffering. Finally, broaden your scope to encompass all beings everywhere. Visualize the entire planet, the vast diversity of humans, animals, plants, and ecosystems, and silently repeat, "May all beings be happy, may all beings be healthy, may all beings live with ease." This universal expression of compassion reminds us that we're part of something much larger than ourselves. It dissolves feelings of separateness and replaces them with a profound sense of interconnectedness. Beyond formal meditation, metta can be practiced throughout your daily life. Whenever you meet someone, whether briefly or intimately, try silently wishing them happiness and well-being. Smile warmly, make eye contact, and let your presence communicate kindness. These small acts of generosity cost nothing but have the potential to brighten someone's day or even change their life. One of the most beautiful aspects of metta is its ability to transform conflict and tension. When disagreements arise, instead of reacting defensively or aggressively, pause and send loving kindness to the other person. This doesn't mean suppressing your needs or compromising your values. Rather, it means approaching the situation with an open heart and a willingness to understand. Often this shift in energy can de-escalate conflicts and pave the way for constructive dialogue. Loving kindness also helps us navigate grief and loss. When someone we love passes away, it's natural to feel overwhelmed by sadness and longing. Practicing metta during these times allows us to honor their memory while finding solace in the knowledge that love transcends death. Silently repeating phrases like, "May you rest in peace," or "May you be free from suffering," can provide comfort and closure. Another powerful application of metta is in overcoming envy and comparison. Social media, workplace competition, and societal pressures often fuel feelings of inadequacy or jealousy. By cultivating loving kindness, we learn to celebrate others' successes without diminishing our own. Instead of viewing achievements as zero-sum games, we recognize that someone else's joy does not diminish ours, it amplifies it. Practicing metta also strengthens our capacity for forgiveness. Holding on to grudges and resentments weighs heavily on the heart, keeping us trapped in cycles of pain. By wishing well for those who have wronged us, we release the burden of bitterness and reclaim our freedom. Forgiveness doesn't happen overnight, but each step toward metta brings us closer to liberation. Finally, metta teaches us to embrace imperfection, with ourselves and others. Nobody is flawless, and expecting perfection sets us up for disappointment. Through loving kindness, we learn to accept people as they are, celebrating their strengths while acknowledging their vulnerabilities. This acceptance fosters deeper, more authentic relationships built on trust and mutual respect. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to make loving kindness a cornerstone of your spiritual practice. Whether through formal meditation, silent affirmations, or everyday gestures of kindness, let metta guide you toward greater compassion and connection. Remember, every act of love ripples outward, creating waves of positivity that benefit everyone involved, including you. Thank you for exploring this teaching with me. Let's continue our journey together as we move into the next chapter, Letting Go or Vairagya. Chapter 6. Letting Go, Vairagya. The sixth teaching we'll explore is one of the most liberating yet challenging concepts in Buddhism, letting go or Vairagya. This practice invites us to release attachment to outcomes, possessions, and even our deeply held identities. freeing us from the burdens of clinging and resistance. While the idea of letting go may sound simple, its implications are vast, offering a pathway to profound peace, clarity, and contentment. At its core, vairagya is about relinquishing our grip on the things we believe will bring us happiness or security. It doesn't mean rejecting life's pleasures or responsibilities. Rather, it's about recognizing that true fulfillment comes not from external achievements or possessions, but from within. By cultivating detachment, not indifference, we can engage with the world more fully while remaining unshaken by its fluctuations. Why is letting go so important? Much of our suffering arises from attachment. We cling to relationships, careers, material goods, and even ideas about who we are, believing they define our worth or guarantee our happiness. But because everything in life is impermanent, this clinging inevitably leads to disappointment. When circumstances change, or when we lose what we've grown attached to, we experience pain, fear, or grief. By learning to let go, we free ourselves from these cycles of craving and aversion, finding stability in the midst of uncertainty. The Buddha often used the analogy of a hand gripping sand to illustrate the nature of attachment. The tighter you squeeze, the more sand slips through your fingers. Similarly, the harder we cling to people, things, or outcomes, the more we suffer. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning effort or care. Instead, it means holding lightly, allowing life to flow naturally without trying to control it. Let's delve deeper into how letting go operates in different areas of life. Consider material possessions, for example. In a consumer-driven society, it's easy to equate wealth or status with success. We accumulate belongings believing they'll make us happier or more secure. Yet time and again we discover that material goods fail to provide lasting satisfaction. They break, wear out, or lose their appeal over time. By practicing vairagya, we learn to appreciate what we have without becoming overly attached to it. This shift in perspective reduces stress and fosters gratitude for the present moment. Relationships are another area where letting go plays a crucial role. Many of us enter relationships with expectations, whether conscious or unconscious, about how others should behave or what they should provide. These expectations can create tension and disappointment when reality doesn't align with our ideals. Practicing vairagya helps us embrace relationships as they are, appreciating the connection without clinging to specific outcomes. For instance, if a friendship evolves or drifts apart, we can honor the experience without resisting the change. Letting go also applies to our sense of identity. So much of our self-worth is tied to roles we play: parent, partner, employee, artist, and the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. While these identities can be meaningful, they can also become limiting if we cling to them too tightly. Life is constantly changing, and rigidly holding on to a fixed self-image prevents us from growing and adapting. By releasing attachment to these labels, we open ourselves to new possibilities and experiences. One practical way to cultivate vairagya is through mindfulness meditation. During meditation, you observe thoughts, emotions, and sensations without identifying with them. Instead of grasping at pleasant experiences or pushing away unpleasant ones, you simply acknowledge their presence and let them pass. This practice trains the mind to hold experiences lightly, reducing reactivity and fostering equanimity. Over time, this skill translates into daily life, helping you respond to challenges with greater calm and wisdom. Another powerful aspect of letting go is its ability to transform fear and anxiety. Often these emotions stem from attachment to future outcomes or resistance to uncertainty. We worry about losing something we value or failing to achieve a goal. By embracing vairagya, we learn to trust the unfolding of life, knowing that whatever happens, we'll find a way forward. This trust doesn't eliminate difficulties, but it softens our response to them, making challenges feel less overwhelming. Consider how letting go might apply to a situation like job loss. Losing a job can trigger feelings of shame, fear, or inadequacy, especially if your identity is closely tied to your career. However, practicing vairagya allows you to see the situation differently. Instead of viewing it as a personal failure, you recognize it as part of life's ebb and flow. You let go of the need to immediately replace what was lost and instead focus on exploring new opportunities with curiosity and openness. Letting go also empowers us to release regrets about the past. So often we replay old mistakes or missed chances in our minds, wishing we could undo them. While reflecting on past experiences can be valuable for growth, dwelling on them only perpetuates suffering. Through vairagya, we learn to forgive ourselves and others, acknowledging that everyone acts according to their understanding at the time. This act of forgiveness clears space for healing and renewal. In addition to its personal benefits, letting go has profound implications for society as a whole. As more people embrace simplicity and non-attachment, we collectively move toward a culture of sustainability and compassion. Imagine communities that prioritize meaningful connections over material wealth, leaders who govern with humility rather than ego, and individuals who contribute to the common good without seeking recognition. These shifts have the potential to heal divisions, reduce inequality, and promote harmony on a global scale. Practicing vairagya doesn't require drastic changes. Small steps can yield significant results. Start by examining areas of your life where you feel particularly attached, whether it's a relationship, a possession, or an expectation, and ask yourself, what would happen if I loosened my grip? How might letting go bring me greater freedom and peace? Gradually, you can expand this practice, integrating detachment into more aspects of your life. Another helpful approach is to reflect on impermanence. Remind yourself regularly that everything changes: your body, your thoughts, your circumstances. This awareness naturally encourages letting go as you realize there's no point in clinging to what cannot last. Instead of fearing change, you begin to welcome it as an opportunity for growth and transformation. Finally, vairagya teaches us to embrace surrender, not as defeat, but as a profound act of faith. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up, it means trusting that life has its own rhythm and intelligence. When we stop trying to force outcomes and allow things to unfold naturally, we align ourselves with the flow of existence. This alignment brings a deep sense of ease and trust, replacing struggle with grace. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to make letting go a central part of your spiritual journey. Whether through meditation, reflection, or everyday moments of release, let vairagya guide you toward greater freedom and peace. Remember, letting go isn't about losing something, it's about gaining everything: clarity, joy, and the boundless potential of the present moment. Thank you for exploring this teaching with me. Let's continue our journey together as we move into the next chapter, the Middle Way. Chapter 7, the Middle Way. The seventh teaching we'll explore is one of the most foundational principles in Buddhism, the Middle Way. This concept, introduced by the Buddha himself, offers a profound approach to living that avoids extremes and cultivates balance, harmony, and wisdom. While the Middle Way may sound simple, its implications are vast, guiding us toward a life of moderation, clarity, and sustainable well-being. At its essence, the Middle Way is about finding equilibrium, neither indulging excessively nor denying ourselves unnecessarily. It rejects both self-indulgence and self-mortification, recognizing that neither extreme leads to true happiness or enlightenment. Instead, it encourages us to navigate life with mindfulness and discernment, making choices that honor our physical, emotional, and spiritual needs without tipping into imbalance. The story of the Buddha's own journey illustrates the importance of this teaching. Before attaining enlightenment, Siddhartha Gautama lived as a prince, surrounded by luxury, indulging in every pleasure available to him. Yet, despite his wealth and comfort, he felt a deep sense of dissatisfaction, realizing that material abundance could not quell the restlessness within. Seeking answers, he renounced his privileged life and embarked on a path of severe asceticism, subjecting himself to intense deprivation and hardship. But after years of struggle, he discovered that extreme austerity also failed to bring peace. It was only when he embraced the middle way, a balanced approach to life, that he found the clarity and insight necessary for awakening. Why is the middle way so important? In a world that often glorifies extremes, whether it's overworking, overindulging, or obsessing over perfection, the middle way serves as a reminder that balance is key to lasting fulfillment. By avoiding extremes, we prevent burnout, maintain resilience, and create space for joy and contentment to flourish. Let's delve deeper into how the middle way operates in different areas of life. Consider physical health, for example. Many people swing between two extremes, either indulging in unhealthy habits like overeating or excessive drinking, or adopting rigid diets and exercise regimens that leave them feeling deprived and stressed. The middle way invites us to care for our bodies with kindness and moderation. This might mean enjoying treats occasionally without guilt while prioritizing nourishing foods most of the time, or exercising regularly without pushing ourselves to exhaustion. By finding balance, we support our well-being without creating unnecessary strain. The middle way also applies to work and productivity. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to fall into the trap of overworking, believing that constant busyness equates to success. On the other hand, some people veer towards the opposite extreme, avoiding responsibility altogether and struggling with procrastination or apathy. The middle way encourages us to engage fully with our tasks while honoring our limits. This means setting realistic goals, taking breaks when needed, and cultivating a mindset of presence rather than perfectionism. By working mindfully and sustainably, we achieve more without sacrificing our mental and emotional health. Relationships too benefit from the middle way. Some individuals become overly dependent on others, seeking validation and fulfillment exclusively through their connections. Others isolate themselves, fearing vulnerability or intimacy. The middle way teaches us to nurture relationships with care and authenticity while maintaining healthy boundaries. It reminds us that interdependence, not codependence or independence, is the foundation of meaningful connection. By striking this balance, we create relationships that are supportive, respectful, and mutually enriching. Another area where the middle way shines is in our pursuit of pleasure and comfort. Modern society often encourages us to chase instant gratification, whether through shopping sprees, binge-watching shows, or indulging in addictive behaviors. While these activities may provide temporary relief, they rarely lead to lasting satisfaction. Conversely, denying ourselves all forms of enjoyment can breed resentment and frustration. The middle way invites us to savor life's pleasures mindfully, appreciating them without becoming attached. For instance, you might enjoy a delicious meal or relaxing evening without needing those experiences to define your happiness. The middle way also extends to our spiritual practice. Some people dive headlong into rigorous meditation schedules or strict ethical codes, striving for rapid progress at the expense of their well-being. Others neglect their spiritual growth entirely, dismissing it as impractical or irrelevant. The middle way encourages us to approach spirituality with patience and consistency, integrating practices like mindfulness and compassion into our daily lives without overwhelming ourselves. By doing so, we cultivate inner transformation gradually and sustainably. One practical way to embody the middle way is through mindful decision-making. When faced with choices, whether big or small, ask yourself, am I leaning toward excess or deficiency? Is this action aligned with my values and well-being? For example, if you're deciding how much time to spend on social media, consider whether it enhances your life or detracts from it. If it's the latter, find a middle ground by setting intentional limits. This reflective approach helps you make decisions that promote balance and harmony. Another powerful aspect of the middle way is its ability to transform conflict and tension. When disagreements arise, we often react impulsively, swinging between aggression and avoidance. The middle way invites us to respond skillfully, balancing assertiveness with empathy. Instead of lashing out or shutting down, we communicate openly and respectfully, seeking solutions that honor everyone's needs. This balanced approach fosters understanding and resolution, reducing the likelihood of escalating conflicts. In addition to its personal benefits, the middle way has profound implications for society as a whole. As more people embrace moderation and balance, we collectively move toward a culture of sustainability and equity. Imagine economies that prioritize well-being over endless growth, leaders who govern with wisdom rather than greed, and communities that celebrate diversity while fostering unity. These shifts have the potential to heal divisions, reduce inequality, and promote harmony on a global scale. Practicing the middle way doesn't require dramatic changes. Small adjustments can yield significant results. Start by examining areas of your life where you feel pulled toward extremes, whether it's work-life balance, diet, relationships, or leisure, and ask yourself, how can I find a healthier midpoint? Gradually, you can expand this practice, integrating balance into more aspects of your life. Another helpful approach is to reflect on impermanence and interconnectedness. Remind yourself regularly that life is constantly changing and that all things are interdependent. This awareness naturally supports the middle way as you realize that clinging to extremes disrupts the natural flow of existence. Instead of forcing outcomes or resisting change, you learn to adapt gracefully, aligning yourself with the rhythms of life. Finally, the middle way teaches us to embrace paradox. Life is full of contradictions, success and failure, joy and sorrow, effort and surrender. Rather than trying to resolve these tensions, the middle way invites us to hold them lightly, recognizing that both sides are part of the whole. This acceptance allows us to navigate challenges with greater ease and wisdom, trusting that balance will emerge even in the midst of complexity. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to make the middle way a guiding principle in your life. Whether through mindful choices, balanced actions, or reflective practices, let this teaching guide you toward greater harmony and peace. Remember, the middle way isn't about achieving some ideal state of perfect equilibrium. It's about embracing the dynamic dance of life with grace and intention. Thank you for exploring this teaching with me. Let's continue our journey together as we move into the next chapter, Karma and Intention. Chapter 8, Karma and Intention. The eighth teaching we'll explore is one of the most profound and practical concepts in Buddhism, karma and intention. This principle offers a clear framework for understanding how our actions shape our lives, both in the present and the future. While the word karma is often misunderstood or oversimplified in popular culture, its true meaning goes far beyond notions of reward and punishment. Instead, it invites us to take responsibility for our choices and recognize the power of intention in creating positive change. At its core, karma refers to the law of cause and effect. Every action we take, whether physical, verbal, or mental, has consequences that ripple outward, influencing not only ourselves but also the world around us. These consequences aren't necessarily immediate or visible. They may unfold over time, shaping our circumstances in subtle yet significant ways. The Buddha taught understanding karma empowers us to live with greater awareness, compassion, and integrity, knowing that what we sow today will bear fruit tomorrow. But what makes karma particularly powerful is the role of intention. In Buddhist philosophy, intention, or cittana, is considered the driving force behind every action. It's not just what we do that matters, but why we do it. Actions motivated by greed, hatred, or delusion tend to create suffering for ourselves and others, while those rooted in generosity, kindness, and wisdom generate happiness and harmony. By cultivating wholesome intentions, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life, fostering well-being on all levels. Why is this teaching so important? In a world where we often feel powerless or overwhelmed by external forces, karma reminds us that we have agency. Our thoughts, words, and deeds are seeds we plant in the garden of existence, and their fruits depend on the care and attention we give them. This realization shifts the focus from blame and victimhood to personal responsibility and empowerment. We begin to see that our lives are shaped not by random fate, but by the cumulative impact of our choices. Let's delve deeper into how karma operates in different areas of life. Consider relationships, for example. How we treat others, whether with kindness or cruelty, patience or impatience, directly affects the quality of our connections. If we consistently act with selfishness or disregard, trust erodes and conflicts arise. On the other hand, if we cultivate empathy, respect and generosity, relationships deepen and flourish. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to nurture goodwill, creating a cycle of positivity that benefits everyone involved. Karma also plays a crucial role in our emotional well-being. When we harbor negative thoughts like anger, jealousy, or resentment, these mental states color our perception and influence our behavior. For instance, harboring bitterness towards someone might lead us to lash out or withdraw emotionally, damaging the relationship further. Conversely, choosing forgiveness frees us from the weight of grudges, allowing us to move forward with lightness and clarity. By directing our minds toward wholesome thoughts, we create inner peace and resilience. Another area where karma manifests is in our work and contributions to society. Whether we're employed in a corporate office, running a small business, or volunteering in our community, the quality of our efforts reflects our intentions. If we approach tasks with diligence, creativity, and care, we not only achieve better results, but also inspire those around us. Over time, this positive energy accumulates, opening doors to new opportunities and collaborations. Conversely, cutting corners or acting dishonestly undermines trust and diminishes our reputation, creating obstacles down the road. The concept of karma extends beyond individual actions to include collective responsibility. Just as our personal choices shape our lives, humanity's collective actions shape the planet and future generations. Environmental degradation, social injustice, and global conflict are all examples of karmic consequences stemming from harmful intentions and behaviors. However, when individuals and communities commit to ethical living, reducing waste, promoting equality, and fostering peace, they contribute to a brighter, more sustainable future. Each small act of kindness or stewardship adds up, creating waves of positive change. One practical way to engage with the teaching of karma is through mindfulness of intention. Before speaking or acting, pause and ask yourself, what is motivating me right now? Is it love, curiosity, or a desire to help? Or is it fear, ego, or a need to control? This simple practice helps you align your actions with your highest values, reducing harm and increasing harmony. Over time, mindful intention becomes second nature, guiding you toward wiser decisions and more meaningful interactions. Another powerful aspect of karma is its ability to transform regret and guilt. So often, we dwell on past mistakes, replaying them in our minds and feeling stuck in cycles of shame. While reflection is valuable for growth, clinging to regret only perpetuates suffering. Through the lens of karma, we recognize that every moment presents a fresh opportunity to make better choices. By focusing on the present and committing to wholesome actions, we rewrite our karmic script, creating a brighter path forward. In addition to its personal benefits, karma has profound implications for justice and ethics. Unlike punitive systems that emphasize retribution, the Buddhist view of karma emphasizes accountability and rehabilitation. It acknowledges that harmful actions stem from ignorance and suffering, which can be addressed through education, compassion, and restorative practices. By fostering environments where people feel seen, heard, and supported, we break cycles of violence and create conditions for healing and transformation. Practicing karma doesn't require dramatic gestures or grand declarations. Small, consistent actions often have the greatest impact. Start by examining your daily habits, how you speak to loved ones, how you handle challenges at work, how you treat strangers, and ask yourself, are these actions contributing to my well-being and the well-being of others? Gradually, you can expand this practice, integrating mindful choices into every aspect of your life. Another helpful approach is to reflect on interconnectedness. Remind yourself regularly that nothing exists in isolation, Every action touches countless beings directly or indirectly. This awareness naturally supports ethical living as you realize that harming others ultimately harms yourself, while benefiting others brings joy and fulfillment. By embracing this perspective, you develop a sense of shared responsibility, fostering compassion and cooperation. Finally, karma teaches us to embrace patience and faith. Because the effects of our actions may not manifest immediately, it's easy to doubt whether our efforts truly matter. But just as a seed takes time to sprout and grow, so too does karma unfold according to its own timing. Trusting this process allows us to stay committed to wholesome intentions, even when results aren't apparent. This patience cultivates perseverance and optimism, replacing frustration with hope. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to make karma and intention guiding principles in your life. Whether through mindful actions, thoughtful words, or compassionate thoughts, let this teaching inspire you to live with greater purpose and integrity. Remember, every moment is an opportunity to plant seeds of kindness, wisdom, and love, the fruits of which will nourish not only your life, but also the lives of countless others. Thank you for exploring this teaching with me. Let's continue our journey together as we move into the next chapter, Emptiness or Sunyata. Chapter 9, Emptiness, Sunyata. The ninth teaching we'll explore is one of the most profound and challenging concepts in Buddhism, emptiness or sunyata. This principle invites us to look beyond the surface of things and recognize the interconnected, ever-changing nature of reality. While the idea of emptiness might initially seem abstract or even unsettling, it holds the key to deep liberation, wisdom, and peace. By understanding sunyata, we can break free from rigid perceptions, dissolve unnecessary suffering, and awaken to the boundless potential of existence. At its essence, emptiness does not mean that things are non-existent or void of meaning. Instead, it points to the fact that nothing exists independently or inherently. Everything arises due to causes and conditions, interwoven with countless other elements in a vast web of interdependence. A flower, for example, cannot exist without sunlight, soil, water, and air, all of which depend on their own sets of conditions. When we examine any phenomenon closely, we see that it lacks a fixed, standalone essence. What appears solid and separate is actually fluid and interconnected. Why is this teaching so important? Much of our suffering stems from clinging to the illusion of inherent existence, the belief that people, objects, and situations have an unchanging, independent identity. We label things as good or bad, me or not me, and then base our happiness or security on these arbitrary distinctions. But when we realize that all phenomena are empty of inherent selfhood, we loosen our grip on rigid views and attachments. This shift opens the door to greater freedom, compassion, and understanding. Let's delve deeper into how emptiness operates in different areas of life. Consider relationships, for instance. So often, conflicts arise because we project fixed identities onto others, believing someone is permanently kind, cruel, trustworthy, or deceitful. These judgments create expectations that, when unmet, lead to disappointment or resentment. Through the lens of sunyata, we see that people are constantly evolving, shaped by circumstances, emotions, and experiences. By letting go of rigid labels, we relate to others with greater flexibility and empathy, recognizing their complexity and humanity. Emptiness also transforms how we perceive ourselves. Many of us identify strongly with roles, achievements, or personality traits, believing they define who we are. Yet upon closer examination, we realize that these aspects are impermanent and dependent on external factors. For example, your identity as a parent relies on the existence of children. Your role as an employee depends on the organization you work for. By embracing emptiness, we release the need to cling to a fixed self-image, opening ourselves to growth, creativity, and transformation. Another area where emptiness has profound implications is in our relationship with material possessions. In consumer-driven societies, we often ascribe inherent value to objects, believing they will bring lasting happiness or security. However, when we understand that these items are empty of intrinsic worth, they derive their significance only through cultural narratives and personal associations, we become less attached to them. This awareness reduces the stress of accumulation and loss, fostering contentment and simplicity. The concept of emptiness extends to our thoughts and emotions as well. So often, we take our inner experiences at face value, mistaking fleeting mental states for absolute truths about reality. For instance, feeling anxious doesn't mean something is inherently wrong, it simply reflects temporary causes and conditions within the mind-body system. By recognizing thoughts and emotions as empty of inherent substance, we stop identifying with them so intensely. This perspective allows us to observe our inner landscape with curiosity and detachment, reducing reactivity and increasing emotional resilience. One practical way to engage with emptiness is through meditation. During meditation, you observe the contents of your mind, thoughts, sensations, emotions, without grasping at them or pushing them away. You notice how each experience arises, lingers briefly, and dissolves back into the field of awareness. This process reveals the transient, conditional nature of all phenomena, reinforcing the teaching of sunyata over time. This practice cultivates equanimity, helping you stay centered amidst life's fluctuations. Another powerful aspect of emptiness is its ability to dissolve fear and aversion. So often we resist change or struggle against challenges because we believe they threaten our sense of self or stability. But when we see that everything, including ourselves, is empty of inherent permanence, we relax into the flow of life. Difficulties no longer feel like assaults on our identity. Instead, they become opportunities for learning and growth. This acceptance softens resistance, replacing struggle with ease. In addition to its personal benefits, emptiness has profound implications for society as a whole. As more people embrace the truth of interdependence, we collectively move toward a culture of cooperation and sustainability. Imagine economies that prioritize collaboration over competition, policies that honor ecological balance, and communities that celebrate diversity while fostering unity. These shifts reflect the wisdom of sunyata, recognizing that individual well-being is inseparable from collective flourishing. Practicing emptiness doesn't require philosophical debates or intellectual gymnastics. It's about cultivating direct insight through everyday experiences. Start by examining ordinary objects, a cup, a chair, a tree, and ask yourself, what makes this thing what it is? Trace its origins and dependencies, noticing how it arises due to countless interconnected factors. Gradually extend this inquiry to people, emotions, and events, seeing everything as part of a dynamic, interdependent whole. Another helpful approach is to reflect on impermanence. Remind yourself regularly that nothing lasts forever, not joy, sorrow, success, failure, or even life itself. This awareness naturally supports the realization of emptiness, as you see that clinging to anything only amplifies suffering. Instead of fearing change, you begin to welcome it as an integral part of existence, finding beauty in impermanence. Finally, emptiness teaches us to embrace paradox. Life is full of contradictions, unity and multiplicity, form and formlessness, presence and absence. Rather than trying to resolve these tensions, sunyata invites us to hold them lightly, recognizing that both sides are expressions of the same truth. This acceptance allows us to navigate complexity with grace and wisdom, trusting that harmony emerges even in the midst of apparent opposites. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to make emptiness a guiding principle in your life, whether through mindful observation, reflective practices, or compassionate action. Let this teaching inspire you to see beyond appearances and connect with the deeper reality of interdependence. Remember, emptiness is not a void, it's a boundless field of possibility, inviting you to live fully and freely in each moment. Thank you for exploring this teaching with me. Let's continue our journey together as we move into the final chapter, Finding Joy in the Present Moment. Chapter 10, Finding Joy in the Present Moment. The 10th and final teaching we'll explore is one of the most transformative yet accessible principles in Buddhism, finding joy in the present moment. This practice invites us to awaken to the beauty, richness, and wonder of life as it unfolds right here, right now. While the idea of living in the present may sound simple, its implications are profound, offering a pathway to lasting happiness, gratitude, and peace. At its core, finding joy in the present moment is about recognizing that true fulfillment doesn't lie in chasing future goals or clinging to past memories. It lies in fully experiencing the here and now. The Buddha taught that the present moment is the only time we truly have. Everything else exists only as thoughts or projections in our minds. By anchoring ourselves in the present, we break free from the cycle of regret and anticipation, discovering a deep sense of contentment that no external circumstance can take away. Why is this teaching so important? In a world that often glorifies busyness and achievement, many of us spend our lives rushing from one task to the next, rarely pausing to savor the journey. We postpone happiness, telling ourselves that we'll be content once we reach a certain milestone, whether it's landing a dream job, buying a house, or achieving some other goal. But when we finally arrive at these destinations, we often find that the sense of satisfaction is fleeting. The truth is, happiness isn't something we achieve externally. It's a state of being that arises when we're fully present. Let's delve deeper into how finding joy in the present moment operates in different areas of life. Consider everyday activities like eating, walking, or even washing dishes. These moments may seem mundane, but they hold immense potential for mindfulness and appreciation. When you eat mindfully, for example, you notice the colors, textures, and flavors of your food. You chew slowly, savoring each bite, and feel gratitude for the nourishment it provides. Similarly, when you walk mindfully, you pay attention to the sensation of your feet touching the ground, the rhythm of your breath, and the sights and sounds around you. These small acts of presence transform ordinary experiences into opportunities for connection and delight. Finding joy in the present moment also applies to relationships. So often we interact with others while distracted by our phones, internal monologues, or preoccupations. Mindful communication involves setting aside those distractions and giving the other person your full attention. You listen deeply, respond thoughtfully, and let your presence communicate care and understanding. This simple act not only strengthens bonds, but also creates moments of genuine connection and joy. Another area where embracing the present moment has profound implications is in dealing with challenges. Life inevitably brings difficulties, loss, illness, conflict. But resisting these experiences only amplifies our suffering. By staying present, we learn to meet challenges with greater calm and resilience. For instance, if you're feeling overwhelmed by stress, instead of spiraling into worry about the future, you bring your attention back to your breath. You notice the sensation of air moving in and out of your body, grounding yourself in the physical reality of the moment. This shift in focus reduces anxiety, allowing you to respond to difficulties with clarity and compassion. The present moment also holds the key to cultivating gratitude. When we slow down and notice the details of our surroundings, we naturally become more appreciative of what we have. A mindful approach to life encourages us to celebrate the little things, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the laughter of a child, the kindness in a stranger's smile. Gratitude in turn amplifies mindfulness, creating a positive feedback loop that enriches our experience of life. One practical way to engage with this teaching is through meditation. During meditation, you anchor your attention on an object of focus, such as the breath, bodily sensations or sounds, and gently return to it whenever your mind wanders. This process trains the mind to stay present, strengthening your ability to concentrate and observe without attachment. Over time, this practice spills over into daily life, helping you stay grounded and aware even amidst chaos. Another powerful aspect of finding joy in the present moment is its ability to dissolve fear and resistance. So often we resist change or struggle against challenges because we believe they threaten our sense of self or stability. But when we see that everything, including ourselves, is impermanent and interconnected, we relax into the flow of life. Difficulties no longer feel like assaults on our identity. Instead, they become opportunities for learning and growth. This acceptance softens resistance, replacing struggle with ease. In addition to its personal benefits, embracing the present moment has profound implications for society as a whole. As more people prioritize mindfulness and presence, we collectively move toward a culture of compassion and sustainability. Imagine workplaces where employees are encouraged to take mindful breaks, schools where children learn to regulate their emotions through mindfulness practices, and communities that prioritize slowing down and connecting deeply. These shifts reflect the wisdom of living in the present, fostering harmony and well-being on a global scale. Practicing joy in the present moment doesn't require dramatic changes. Small, consistent actions often have the greatest impact. Start by bringing awareness to everyday activities, whether it's brushing your teeth, drinking a cup of tea, or taking a shower, and notice the sensations, smells, and sounds involved. Gradually expand this practice, integrating mindfulness into more aspects of your life. Another helpful approach is to reflect on impermanence. Remind yourself regularly that every moment is unique and irreplaceable. Knowing that this exact moment will never happen again allows you to appreciate it more deeply. Instead of rushing through life, you begin to savor each experience, finding beauty in the ordinary. Finally, finding joy in the present moment teaches us to embrace simplicity. In a world that often equates success with complexity and accumulation, simplicity offers a refreshing antidote. By focusing on what truly matters, relationships, health, creativity, and inner peace, we create space for joy to arise naturally. This simplicity doesn't mean denying life's pleasures or responsibilities. Rather, it means engaging with them fully while remaining unshaken by their fluctuations. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to make finding joy in the present moment a cornerstone of your spiritual practice. Whether through meditation, mindful activities, or simply pausing to breathe throughout the day, let this teaching guide you back to the richness of life unfolding right now. Remember, the present moment is not just a stepping stone to some future goal. It's the essence of life itself, brimming with possibility and grace. Thank you for exploring this teaching with me. Let's continue our journey together as we move into the closing of this video. And so we come to the end of our journey together, a journey through 10 profound Buddhist teachings that illuminate the path to inner peace, mindfulness, and well-being. As we wrap up this exploration, I want to take a moment to reflect on what we've uncovered and how these timeless principles can continue to guide you in your daily life. Over the past 2 hours, we've delved into the nature of suffering, Dukkha, the inevitability of impermanence, Anicca, the fluidity of self, Anatta, and the transformative power of mindfulness, Sati. We've embraced loving kindness, Metta, learned the art of letting go, Vairagya, and found balance through the middle way. We've examined the law of karma and intention, marveled at the interconnectedness revealed by emptiness, Sunyata, and discovered the boundless joy available in the present moment. Each of these teachings offers a thread in the tapestry of wisdom, weaving together a holistic approach to living with greater clarity, compassion, and peace. But remember, these teachings are not just concepts to intellectualize, they're tools to live by. They invite us to step off the treadmill of striving and control, encouraging us instead to meet life as it is, imperfect, ever-changing, and profoundly beautiful. Whether you're navigating challenges, celebrating joys, or simply moving through the quiet moments of an ordinary day, these principles can serve as anchors, reminding you to stay grounded, open-hearted, and present. As you carry these insights forward, I encourage you to be patient with yourself. Transformation doesn't happen overnight. It unfolds gradually, like the petals of a lotus flower opening to the sun, Some days you'll feel deeply connected to these teachings, and others you may struggle to apply them. That's okay. Growth is rarely linear, and every effort you make, even the smallest act of awareness or kindness, plants a seed that will eventually bloom. One of the most beautiful aspects of this journey is that it's entirely personal. There's no right or wrong way to engage with these teachings. You don't need to adopt all of them at once or adhere to any rigid framework. Instead, let them resonate with you in their own time. Perhaps you'll find comfort in the simplicity of mindfulness, strength in the practice of letting go, or inspiration in the boundlessness of emptiness. Trust your intuition and allow these teachings to unfold in ways that feel authentic and meaningful to you. I also want to remind you that you're not alone on this path. While the journey inward can sometimes feel solitary, there's a vast community of seekers, practitioners, and teachers who share your aspirations for peace and understanding. Whether through books, courses, meditation groups, or even online platforms like the Mindful Zone, you have access to countless resources and support systems to nurture your growth. Don't hesitate to reach out, explore, and connect with others who are walking a similar road. Finally, I'd like to express my deepest gratitude to you for joining me today. Your presence here is a testament to your commitment to self-discovery and well-being, and I'm honored to have shared this space with you. My hope is that this video has planted seeds of insight and inspiration that will continue to grow long after it ends. May you walk gently through the world filled with love, curiosity, and compassion for yourself, for others, and for the miracle of existence itself. Before we part ways, I invite you to take one final breath with me. Inhale deeply, hold it for a moment, and now exhale slowly. Feel the weight lift from your shoulders, the stillness settle in your heart. Carry this sense of calm with you as you step back into your day, knowing that peace is always within reach, no matter where you are or what you're facing. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the Mindful Zone for more content designed to support your journey toward mindfulness and well-being. And if you feel called to revisit any of the chapters we explored today, know that they'll always be here, ready to guide you whenever you need them. Thank you again for being here, for showing up for yourself, and for embracing the possibility of transformation. Until next time, may your heart remain open, your mind stay curious, and your spirit shine brightly. With warmth and gratitude, I wish you peace